رسولنا اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وإيمانا وفقها في الدين اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وتجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا يا رب العالمين. So this is a commentary of the Sikh Hadith. Who want to read?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن أبي عبد الله بن نعمان بن بشير رضي الله عنهما قال: سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول: إن الحلال بين وإن الحرام بين بينهما أمور مشتبهات لا يعلمهن كثير من الناس من اتقى الشبهات فقد استبرأ لدينه وعرضه ومن وقع في الشبهات وقع في الحرام كالراعي يرعى حول الحمى يوشك أن يرتع فيه ألا وإن لكل ملك حمى ألا وإن حمى الله مهارمه ألا وإن في الجسد مضغة إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله وإذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله ألا وهي القلب. رواه البخاري ومسلم.
عن أبي عبد الله An-Nuaman bin Bashir. So Abi Abdullah Nu'man bin Bashir. So this is Sif Hadith narrated by Abu Abdullah An-Nu'man bin Bashir. So An-Nu'man, who is An-Nu'man bin Bashir? An-Nu'man Abu Abdullah An-Nu'man bin Bashir bin Sa'ad al-Ansari. So this Sahabi narrated this hadith. So Abu Abdullah. What is Abu Abdullah? The kunya of An-Nu'man. Okay. And then Nu'man is his name, his first name, right? Bashir bin Sa'ad al-Ansari. Yeah, so it's it's known as Nisba. This Nisba, they use it mostly for things that a person is known for, or where a person has settled, or maybe a person's hometown, right? So many scholars like Bukhari. So his name is not Bukhari. His name is Muhammad bin Ismail, right? But Bukhari is attributed to his hometown, where he was born. He was born in the city of Bukhara. So he is known as Al-Bukhari. Okay. So also Imam Nawawi, the author of this 40 hadith, is also was born in a city called Nawa, right? So it's known as An-Nawawi or An-Nawawi, right? So this is what Nisba, right? This is Nisba. So Nu'man bin Bashir is one of the indigenous of Medina. So it's known as Ansari, right? Okay. So Al-Ansari.
What is the difference between the lakab? So we talk about Nisba, we talk about kunya, but we didn't talk about
lakab. Yeah, lakab we also say it's also a title, right? Title also like that it does not start with Abu or The only title that starts with Abu and is the kunya, right? And then the nisba is what we also want to explain. And then we have lakab. So lakab, it's also a person. It's also from something that a person is known for, like a trade, right? Like a trade. For instance, last you asked of a scholar by the name Abu Hanifa. Who asked that question? You asked. Okay. So you are asking, how did it get this kunya, right?
Yeah.
So this, and we explained how he got that kunya. But here, he's known as An-Nuaman bin Thabit al-Kufi al-Khazazi, right? Al-Khazazi is what? His lakab. Khazazi is what it means. He sells cloth. Khazaz, right? So here, the lakab is from what? From his street. You get it? So some too, they get a lakab from what? From their attribute. Let's say a person is really dark in complexion. Then he will what? He will give in that title. Yeah, that's lakab. Someone too will be having, let's say, a long hands, and then he is known as what? Right? So this is what? A lakab. Okay. So this, it can be from a trait or from a person's attribute or something that a person is known for.
So like Asadullah, something like that.
Yes, so this is also like that. So let's say a warrior, a brave person.
What's called?
Huh?
Someone that was called that sort of like.
Yeah,
Is this guy?
Is it Ali or
No. It's
Saad?
Khalid Mujib?
yeah,
Khalid.
Khalid.
Khalid. Okay.
So example Al-Badari.
Al-Badari. Yeah, also Badari. Or Badri, yeah. Badari. Yeah, so it means someone who has what? Participated in the battle of Badr. So like this Sahabi, his father's name is Bashir bin Sa'ad. Is what? Al-Badri. Al-Ansari Al-Badri. Yes. So that's Bashir bin Sa'ad. That's the father, Nu'man's father. Okay. So Nu'man's father, he was among those who embraced Islam in Mecca, those who visited the Prophet ﷺ before his migration. You know, two delegates from Medina visited the Prophet in the 11th year and the 12th year, right? So the first delegate came, and then the following year another delegate came. So he's part of one of these delegates, right? And also he's the first to accept Abu Bakr as what? As the Khalif, the first Khalif, when they were discussing it after the death of the Prophet. So he was the first person to do what? The Mubayah. And then he also participated in what? In the Battle of Badr. So Nu'man, his son, Nu'man, was born 14th after in the 14th month after so he was born 14th month after the 14th month in the 14th month after the migration of the Prophet to Medina, right? Meaning in the second year, right? So the Prophet ﷺ died when he was 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah. So he was 8 when the Prophet ﷺ died. Right. So he narrated hadith from the Prophet ﷺ, and the entire hadith that he narrated were 114. Right?
Directly from the Prophet?
No, not directly from the Prophet. So according to some, they are saying that he had only 2 hadiths from the Prophet. Right? This hadith. Right? Some are saying he did not hear, but from the wording of the hadith, he said, Sami'tu Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then in another narration, he said, وَأَوْهَى النُّعْمَانِ بِأُصْبُعَيْهِ إِلَى أُذُنَيْهِ. Right? So he was pointing his what? He used his what? His fingers, pointing to his ear, to what? To see that, he had this hadith from the Prophet. Yeah, so he narrated 114 hadith, right? And he narrated many hadiths from his father as well. So, and he was a governor in the time of Muawiyah, right? The time of Muawiyah, he was in Kufa, and then later moved to Hims, and he was killed in Hims in the year 64, right? In the year 64, and there's no more information, much information about An-Nuaman bin Bashir. So he said, سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول, I heard the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام. So I heard, what does it mean?
It means he heard from the Prophet.
Yeah, he heard directly from the Prophet, right? But if, let's assume that he heard this from his father, would he have said, سمعت رسول الله? No. Sahabas don't do that. When they report a hadith from someone, they say what?
They mention the person's name.
No, they don't mention the person's name.
Call.
Unless you ask them, from whom did you narrate this hadith?
Yes.
But they say what? قال رسول الله. So Abu Huraira, as we said, is what? The leading hadith narrator among the Sahaba, right? But he will never say that I reported this hadith from this Sahabi. No, he just say what? Qala Rasulullah, right? But if it's a hadith that he heard from the Prophet, he will say Sami'tu Rasulullah, right? So when they hear something directly from the Prophet, they will say Sami'tu, right? But if they reported it from another companion, then they will say Qala. Right? Okay. So, because if a companion did not report a hadith from the Prophet, or did not hear it from the Prophet, and see Sami'tu, it's a lie. And the companions don't what? No one has ever lied. Right? So if a companion see Sami'tu Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it means he has indeed heard that hadith from the Prophet. So he said, سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إن الحلال بين وإن الحرام بين وبينهما مشتبهات. So he said إن الحلال بين, meaning permissible matters or issues are clear, are profound, are known. إن الحلال بين وإن الحرام بين, and also prohibited issues and matters are also clear and known, right? So what does it mean? It means that things that are permissible, things that are halal, Allah has what? Mentioned, Allah has made them known in the glorious Quran. Explicitly, he has mentioned them explicitly in what? In the glorious Quran. And things that are also haram, Allah has also what? Mentioned them in what? Explicitly in the glorious Quran. Right? So when you recite a verse that talks about something permissible, you understand its permissibility from the verse. And if a verse is also what? Discussing something that is prohibited or haram, you understand his what? Prohibition from the verse. It's clear. Right? So for instance, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا مَالَ الْيَتِيمِ إِلَّا بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Do not go close to what? To the money or to the wealth of what? The orphans. So what does it mean? Is it permissibility to squander or to spend orphans' money? No. It's what? So this is what? This is haram, this is clear. Right? So when Allah said, أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ لَيْلَةَ الصِّيَامِ رَفَثُوا إِلَى نِسَائِكُمْ أُحِلَّ. This is what? Permissibility. Meaning Allah has made what? Lawful for you to have sexual intercourse with your wives in the night of what? Ramadan. Meaning having sexual intercourse during the day in Ramadan is what? It's not permissible, but it's permissible during the night. So this is also what? The permissibility is what? Is clear. Right? وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَى. Allah has what? Made trade, right? Business permissible, and has prohibited interest and usury. Right? So this is what? This is clear. Right? Allah said, اليوم أحل لكم الطيبات وطعام الذين أوتوا الكتاب حل لكم. So this day, today, with what we've made all pure food permissible for you. Right? So here he mentioned, and he also said, حرمت عليكم أمهاتكم وبناتكم وأخواتكم. Right? So here Allah has what? Also mentioning the women that are what? Prohibited, that are forbidden for us to what? To marry. Right? And also said حرمت عليكم الميتة والدم ولحم الخنزير. So here it's also what? Allah has prohibited also carrion, meaning to eat a dead animal. Right? حرمت عليكم الميتة والدم, and also blood. Right? والدم ولحم الخنزير, and pork. So this is what? All these are what? Clearly prohibited. And then things that are what? Permissible are also what? Clear. You get it? So إن الحلال بين وإن الحرام بين.
Say, there are some things that they are haram, but they didn't mention them. This is haram, this is haram, this is haram, but they grouped them. So, what about that one?
Which one is it?
Like, excuse me, but Allah, like in the Quran, they didn't say something that we are known for. Maybe this particular thing is haram, this particular thing is haram, this like in that one.
Yeah, so now, so it's trying to say that there are certain things that Allah has prohibited, but has not mentioned its prohibition explicitly in the Quran, right?
Okay.
No, it's not about
No, like maybe for instance, weed. Weed is
Yeah.
yes, like and other related things to it.
Are you referring to marijuana?
Yeah, okay. Maybe.
No, are you referring to marijuana?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And other things like those.
Okay. Yes, that's it. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Oh.
Right? So there are things that are haram, but Allah has not mentioned it in the Quran, or has not mentioned it explicitly.
Okay.
Right? So how do we know the permissibility and the prohibition of these things? Right? So the verse that we mentioned from Surah Al-Ma'idah, Allah said, Al-Yawma uhilla lakum at-tayyibat. Today with what we've permitted, we made every pure or all pure food permissible for you. So anything pure, anything healthy, anything beneficial to the body is what? Is permissible. But anything harmful to the body is what? Is forbidden. You get it? So here this is a general statement that we can use to know what? To know what is permissible and what is prohibited. Right? So when you smoking of what? Marijuana, is it beneficial to the body or it's harmful to the body?
Say, according to what I've read, or maybe here the rumor, they say it's
Right.
actually a medicinal plant.
Okay.
So in some extent, or maybe in some extent, it cures some kind of, problems. Like it's a medicinal plant, and but the abuse of it becomes the problem.
Wow.
So in this
No,
manner,
brother,
okay.
I'm asking. Smoking. No, see, the plant, you are talking about the plant.
Yes.
We are talking about, I'm asking the smoking of marijuana.
Okay, that's.
Don't mix the two.
Alright.
Is smoking is smoking marijuana permissible or prohibited?
Yes, it's prohibited.
It's prohibited. Why is it prohibited?
Because it's not
It's not what?
good to the body.
It's not good, right? It's not healthy to the body. Yes. It's what? It's temper with what? With the intellect and the reason. Okay? So here it's fall under what? Hadith and not what? And not tayyibat.
No.
Right? But the plant maybe can have some medical benefit or whatever. Yes, it can be used for that purpose. No problem. But we are talking about smoking marijuana. Right? It is what? It is clearly haram. Right? Why? Because it's harmful to what? To the body and to the what? To the reason. So anything harmful to the body or to any organ of the of the body, it's what? It's haram. Right? And also anything beneficial to what? To the body, and yeah, it's also what? It's also permissible.
So, another question is maybe some countries, because of the code, so smoking cigarette has been permitted by doctors in a way that to
warm their body.
Warm the body.
Okay.
Yeah. For this one, what's the Islamic ruling about this?
Okay.
Because it's permitted to warm the body.
To warm the body.
To prevent them from,
Okay, so what is haram is haram. So here, okay. Now, the purpose of what? They permitting smoking is what? To warm the body, right? Can you substitute the smoking of cigarette with tea? Why are you laughing? Yes. Yes or no?
I say I can get
No.
everywhere.
Yes or no? Lipton is everywhere, brother. It's cheap. Very cheap. It's cheaper than the cigarettes. Right? So those who are smoking over there, there are those who want to smoke. Right? And then doctors, whether eating something is legal or illegal, permissible in the religion or not permissible, it's not, we don't take what? The verdict or the opinion of what? Doctors. As far as they themselves establish that it's what? It's harmful to the body. So does the cold or the weather make it unharmful again? No. Right? So here there's contradiction. There's contradiction here. They are saying, okay, it's harmful to the kidney, it's harmful to what and what, many organs in the body. And then also because of just the cold, just the weather, they allow them to what? To smoke and then damage all these organs.
Say, it's warm, it's too warm. Maybe, probably the cold could have maybe an immense effect on the lungs and the person will freeze to death or something.
No. See, those countries they have heaters everywhere. In every building, everywhere in the corridor, in the offices, there are heaters. Right? Yeah. So if you want to keep yourself warm, there are many ways. Prepare tea, there's flask. Prepare tea, put it in a flask, and then be taking it to keep yourself warm. Right? But the weather will never permit what? Smoking of cigarette or marijuana. Right? Because it's what? It's haram. So, inna al-halala bayin wa inna al-harama bayin. And then he said, wa baynahuma umurun mushtabihat. Between these two things, they are what? They are doubtful issues. They are issues that are what? Ambiguous. Right? لا يعلمهن كثير من الناس. Many people don't know the ruling of this. Many people don't know this doubtful issue. So here we understand that halal, things that are permissible are what? Are profound, clear and known. Right? And also things that are forbidden haram are also what? I mean, profound, clear, and known, right? But between these two, they are what? They are ambiguous issues. They are what? They are unclear issues that are what? That are unclear, that are doubtful, right? So now we have what category? Three categories of what? Of things here, right? We have permissible things, and also forbidden matters, and also doubtful. And then Allah has what mentioned this in Surah Al-Imran, the first speech of what? Of Al-Imran. Right? He said, هو الذي أنزل عليك الكتاب منه آيات محكمات وهن أم الكتاب وأخر متشابهات فأما الذين في قلوبهم زيغ فيتبعون ما تشابه منه ابتغاء الفتنة وابتغاء التأويل وما يعلم تأويله إلا الله والراسخون في العلم. Right? So here this verse is saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed to the Prophet ayat muhkamat, verses, legal verses. Ayat muhkamat are legal verses. And these legal verses are what? Are the foundation of the book. Meaning, the book, Allah has purposefully revealed this Quran because of these legal verses. وَأُخْرَ مُتَشَابِهَاتٍ, and others are also what? Elusive, ambiguous, and doubtful. Right? So here he mentioned two categories, but in fact there are three. So here muhkamat, legal verses, consist of halal and haram. Right? And then ukhru mutashabiha, that is the doubtful issue, the elusive issues. Right? And then he said, فَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ زَيْغٌ, as for those who their heart is diseased, they follow what? They follow the doubtful issue. They follow what? The doubtful issue. Meaning, the legal verses are what? Clear. But their issues are what? Doubtful. So those with what? Disease in their heart, they follow what? They try to follow, or they hold fast to the doubtful issues, just to find interpretations for these doubtful issues. And then Allah clearly said, but no one knows the meaning of what? These doubtful issues except Allah. And then the scholars, those who are well versed in knowledge, they surrender to what? To these. Right? So here, this hadith clearly also states what? These three categories of what? Of things, of matters. Okay? إِنَّ الْحَلَالَ بَيِّنٌ وَإِنَّ الْحَرَامَ بَيِّنٌ وَبَيْنَهُمَا أُمُورٌ مُشْتَبِهَاتٌ. So he said, لَا يَعْلَمُهُنَّ كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ. So these أُمُورٌ مُشْتَبِهَاتٌ, what are they? Now we know what is halal. We know what is haram. Right? What is umur mushtabihat? What is it? These are doubtful issues, right? They are doubtful issues. It's neither halal nor haram. Because if we know the ruling, it will be clear that it's either haram or halal. That's why it is what? It is doubtful. Right? So now, how do we know that this is a doubtful issue? This is a very important thing here. How do we know that this is a doubtful issue? Immediately you are acting on something, and then you start to feel uncomfortable. Right? This doubt, right? Something that perturbs your heart. Then get to know that this is what? This is doubtful issue. See, when you are acting on something permissible, you feel at ease, comfortable. And then when you are also acting on something haram, you know that this is what? This is haram. You, of course, you will not feel comfortable. But you know, you also not be in doubt. Because it is what? It is clearly haram. You get it? But the doubtful issues, they what? They causes doubt. These ambiguous matters, mutashabih, mushtabihat, they causes what? Doubt, and then perturbs the heart. It disturbs the heart. You get it? So there are things that sometimes you watch, you are dealing with it and you don't feel at ease. Okay? So with such things, it's better to what? To stay away from them. Okay, ask.
See, how did scholars, counter the issues of ignorance and doubtful matters?
So, with ignorance, the only way to deal with this is knowledge, right? So, some may think that many issues are what? Doubtful, but it's not doubtful because they don't know, right? When you know, you understand that these doubtful issues are not what? Are not many, right? You understand that these doubtful issues are not what? Are not many. So, with these doubtful issues, they use what? They use knowledge and then piety, right? So if it's something that falls between halal and haram, knowledge will tell, understanding will tell that this is haram and this is what?
Haram.
This is haram. And then if it is doubtful, they what? In this situation, they exercise what? Their piety, their consciousness of Allah, and then they stay away from it, right? So there's a hadith of the Prophet, a companion came, and then he came to ask the Prophet about what is righteousness and what is what sinful, right? What is sin and what is righteousness? And then the Prophet said to him, "Istafti qalbak, al-birru مطمئنت إليه النفس واطمأن إليه القلب والإثم ما حاك في القلب وتردد في الصدر وإن أفتاك الناس وأفتوك." He said to him, righteousness is what? It's something that brings comfort and ease to what? To the heart. To the soul and then the heart. And then doubtful issues here are what? Are things that causes the heart to what? To doubt and then what? To perturb. Right? To feel uncomfortable. Right? And then he said to him, وَإِنْ أَفْتَوْكَ النَّاسِ وَأَفْتَوْكَ. So he focused on what? On the doubtful issue, that he should stay away from the doubtful issue. Immediately he felt doubt and then discomfort. Then he should know that this is what? This is a doubtful issue. He should stay away from it. And he said, وَإِنْ أَفْتَوْكَ النَّاسِ وَأَفْتَوْكَ. Even if people give you the fatwa that this thing is permissible, stay away from it. You get it? There are certain issues. Scholars of knowledge will disagree. Some will say this is haram, and some will say what? This is makruh. Yes. It is makruh, is dislike. It's not haram. But haram is what? Something prohibited. So when you act on something haram, you are sinful. But something dislike, makruh, you are not what? You are not sinful. But staying away from it is what? Is better.
So it's more like the action of the noble.
So, and he said to him, وَإِنْ أَفْتَوْكَ النَّاسُ وَأَفْتَوْكَ. There are certain issues that you find people, some scholars are saying this is haram, some are saying this is makruh. But when, let's say, when someone wants to do that, then he will follow what? The fatwa that says
It's makruh.
that it's makruh. Right?
No,
Okay. So, with that, when you follow this fatwa, and then you act on this action, you what? You always be in doubt, and then your heart was, you still what you find yourself uncomfortable acting on it. So this is a doubtful issue that you should what? You should stay away from it.
Say example of a doubtful issue.
That's what I'm helping you to understand. So yeah, so this how you understand, right?
No.
You look at it, it does not fall under haram, and also does not fall under what? And then you'll find what people of knowledge about different in it. Yeah, different opinions. So with this issue, you have to what? You have to exercise piety and consciousness of Allah to stay away from it, as the hadith says. So he said, لا يعلمهن كثير من الناس. These doubtful issues are not known by many people. So it means that few among them knows of it. Knows the what? That this is a doubtful issue. You get it? But this is a criteria that I'm giving you that you can use to what? To identify a doubtful issue. Right? So لا يعلمهن كثير من الناس. فمن اتقى الشبهات. Whoever stay away, distance himself from doubtful and ambiguous issues, فقد استبرح لدينه وعرضه. The person has what? Indeed protected, safeguarded his religion, his iman, and his dignity. Right? So here we also understand that staying away from doubtful issues, staying away from ambiguous issues, it's what? It protects our what? Our iman. Right? Well, how does it protect our iman? It protects our iman in the sense that when you stay away from it, you what? You always be what? You always be in good state of mind, and then also good state of what? Heart. Right? And then with that, you get your what? Your iman protected. But when you engage in what? In doubtful issues, what happens? You what? This doubtful issue will lead to what? To haram things. To things that are haram. And then when you engage in things that are haram, what happens? It affects your iman. You understand? So staying away from doubtful issues and ambiguous issues, doesn't it protect your religion and then your dignity? Have you ever heard someone saying that this person, I really respected him, but I saw him doing this, or I saw him here, I saw him. You hear that a lot, right?
No, sure.
Most these are what? Some are what? Doubtful issues. Okay? So maybe those people who respect you, they see this thing to be what? To be haram.
Yeah.
But you see it to be what? Makruh.
Yeah.
So you what? You don't see any problem in doing it. And then this what? When you act upon it, it's what? It tarnishes your image. You get it? So that's why, so the approach of the Prophet is what? To stay away from it. Right? To stay away from it. Any doubtful issue, what? You stay away from it. Even see the Sahabas, some things that are permissible. If we say something permissible that are mubah, you can either do it or not do it. They stay away from what? From a lot of luxury, with the fear that it could lead them to haram.
Even good things.
Even good things. This luxury, they stay away from it. With what? With the notion that it could lead them to haram. So this is what? They are exercising what? Piety and consciousness of Allah. Yeah. You get it? So this how you get, you know that this is a doubtful issue, or this is what? A clear issue. You get it? And then he said, فَمَنِ اتَّقَى الشُّبَهَاتِ. فقد استبرأ لدينه وعرضه. And then he said, وَمَنْ وَقَعَ فِي الشُّبَهَاتِ وَقَعَ فِي الْحَرَامِ. And he said, whoever engage or indulges in doubtful issue will eventually act on what? On haram. Why? Because this doubtful issue is not far from haram. The best we can say in support of it is what? It's makruh. And then constantly acting on makruh leads to haram. You get it? Leads to haram. So then the Prophet said, وَمَنْ وَقَعَ فِي الشُّبْهَاتِ وَقَعَ فِي الْحَرَامِ. The person who indulge or act on doubtful issue will eventually act on haram or fall in what? In haram things. So here the Prophet is telling us that stay away from doubtful issues to protect your what? To safeguard your Eman and your dignity. Okay, stay away from doubtful issues to safeguard your Eman and your dignity. And then he said, كالراعي يرعى حول الحمى يوشك أن يرتع فيه. He said, it's like a example of that is example of a person who acts on doubtful issue. It's as if what? It's like a shepherd who grazes, who allow his animal to graze around what? A sanctuary or a grove or a territory, a protected or preserved. So that preserve or that territory, you are not allowed to graze. So when your animals, graze around these preserve or sanctuary or grove, what happens? They will eventually, they are likely to enter. And then you are not allowed to enter. So it is what? It's what it will lead to. It will lead to harm. So that's like you grazing around that grove. It's like acting on what? On doubtful issue, right? And eventually will lead to haram. So كالراعي يرعى حول الحمى يوشك أن يقع فيه يوشك أن يرتع فيه. It's likely that the person or the animals will enter into that preserve. كالراعي يرعى حول الحمى يوشك أن يرتع فيه. And then he said, ألا وإن لكل ملك حمى. ألا وإن لكل ملك حمى. Beware, pay attention. Every king has what? Has a territory, has what? A sanctuary, has what? A limit. ألا وإن لكل ملك حمى. Right? Every king, every ruler has what? Has a territory. What does it mean? It means that every ruler has what? Has a territory that he will never allow someone or anyone to transgress. Right? This is the limit. No one has the right to transgress. ألا وإن لكل ملك حمى. ألا وإن حمى الله محارم. And Allah also has what? Also has a limit. And the limit of Allah is what? Is what? Are the things that Allah has what? Prohibited. So things that Allah has prohibited are what? The limit of Allah. So you find what? In numerous verses Allah say, تلك حدود الله فلا تقربوها. تلك حدود الله فلا تعتدوها. Right? These are the limits of what? Of Allah. Do not what? Do not transgress. And then there are also verses that say, these are limits of Allah. Do not get close to it. You get it? Because when you get close to it, you eventually enter. Right? And when you transgress, for you, may Allah forgive you. Right? So تلك حدود الله فلا تقربوا. So here we understand that doubtful issues leads to what? Haram. So to safeguard our Iman, our religion, is to what? Stay away from what? From doubtful issues. And we've already explained how to identify what a doubtful issue is. How to identify doubtful issues. Okay.
Say, for a new person, like a new convert to Islam, and maybe he finds himself where he's not surrounded by Muslim, but in a non-believing state, and he's observing his prayers, but there are certain parts of the prayers that when he's observing, he doesn't really know what the right thing to do, whether it should be done this way, whether it should be done that way. So what about such person? Because he finds that to be doubtful, whether I should do it this way, which one is the right way, that kind of thing. But there's no one there to guide him.
No, this is not a doubtful issue. You should find those who know and then you should learn from them.
There's no one to guide.
No. Maybe you don't know anyone, but there's someone definitely. So you should what? This is his jihad. You should go and find that person and learn from the person. Yeah. So this, you see, as I said earlier, many people will think certain things are doubtful. This is not doubtful. This is what? This is ignorance. You have to go and learn. Right? So I said earlier that scholars deal with doubtful issue. They use two things to deal with doubtful issues: knowledge and piety. So if it's something that has to do with what? Knowledge, knowing that this is whether this fall under permissibility or prohibition, you what? You use knowledge here. You use understanding, deep understanding to what to know. And then if it's something doubtful, you know that here this does not fall under halal nor haram. Here you use what? You use piety to stay away from it. Okay? So here, وَإِنَّ حِمَ اللَّهِ مَحَارِمُ. Then I say, continue to say, أَلَا إِنَّ فِي الْجَسَدِ مُضْغَةً. Behold, there's what? In the flesh, in the body, there's what? There's a flesh. In the body, there's a flesh. ألا وإن في الجسد مضغة إذا صلحت صلح الجسد كله. When this flesh is pure and clean, the entire body becomes pure and clean. وإذا فسدت فسد الجسد كله. And then when this flesh becomes corrupt and dirty, it affects what? The entire body. And then the entire body becomes also corrupt and dirty. And then he said, Bala wahiya al-qalb. Behold, that flesh is the heart. So the heart. So when the heart is clean, the entire body becomes what? Clean. And when the heart is what? Is dirty and corrupt, the entire body becomes corrupt. So how is that possible? This heart, I mean, what percentage does it, I mean, what space does it cover from the entire body to have this position that when it is clean, the entire body becomes clean, and when it is corrupt and dirty, the entire body becomes dirty, right? So here, the heart is what? It's a very important organ, right? When it is clean. Clean from what?
Sin.
Huh?
Sin.
Yeah, clean from what? From sins, and clean from spiritual heart diseases. Like what? Like hazard, like hatred, like jealousy and all that. So all these are what? Spiritual heart diseases that we should try and then what? Get rid of. Because all these things, what? They corrupt the heart. They corrupt the heart. So when we allow these heart diseases to corrupt the heart, it affects what? It affects the entire body, meaning it affects our actions. It affects the way we think. It affects the way we act. So when you have what? A diseased heart, it affects your actions, it affects your speech, it affects the way you think. You understand? It affects all this. So let's say a heart filled with what? Jealousy, hatred, and arrogance. It will show through your what? Through your actions and then your speech. It will show, definitely. You can never have what? A clean and soft heart and then not act righteously. This is impossible. And you can also what? Not have what? A diseased heart and then be acting what? Righteously. Unless when you are really mastering how to act and pretend. You know, so like that. So here it tells us that the heart is what? It's really important. There's a very wise man called Luqman al-Hakim. He had a master, and Allah has informed us about Luqman al-Hakim in the Quran, and he said, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا لُقْمَانَ الْحِكْمَةَ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِلَّهِ. Right, we've indeed what? Blessed Luqman with what? With wisdom. He should be grateful to Allah for that wisdom. So his master, he was a servant of Eman, his master, and then the master wanted to test the wisdom of Luqman, his wisdom and understanding. And he once said to him, he gave him a ram, a sheep to go and slaughter. And he said, bring me the most pure 2 organs from this sheep. The most pure organs from this sheep. 2 organs, yeah. So he brought the tongue and then the heart. And then some few weeks later, he gave him another sheep to go and slaughter. He went and slaughtered and then commanded him to bring the most corrupt organs from what? Two most corrupt organs from the animal. So what happened? He brought the tongue and then the heart again. So the master was like, I ask you to bring. So he brought what? The tongue and then the heart again as the most corrupt organs. And then the master asked him, I ask you to bring the most purest organs from the sheep. You brought the tongue and then the heart. And then this time the most corrupt, you brought the tongue and then the heart again. And then he said to him, Luqman said to his master, when these 2 are pure, the entire body becomes pure. And when these 2 organs are corrupt, the entire body becomes corrupt. You get it? But here, in this hadith, the Prophet tells us that what? The heart has what? Precedence over the tongue, right? Because when the heart is clean, the speech becomes what? Clean, pure, and then good. And then when the heart is diseased, hardened, you find that's where you find people insulting, backbiting, saying all bad things. Okay, but when the heart is clean, pure, soft, you find a person smiling, saying good things, and like that. So, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also informed us the importance of what? Of a clean heart. He said, يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. Remember the day that neither wealth nor children will benefit any of you, except the one who comes to Allah with a clean and pure heart. Right? A clean and and pure heart. So when you come to Allah with clean heart, meaning you don't associate partner with Allah. You don't associate partner with Allah, you stay away from sin and you worship Allah. Right? Because when this is intact, your actions, your speech, everything become intact. Right? So, I mean, we have to.
Regards to the Luqman.
Okay.
Was he a Sahabi?
The Luqman?
No.
No, Luqman is not a Sahabi. It's not the companion of the Prophet. But we can say it's a companion of Dawood alayhi salam. Yeah, he lived in the same time with Dawood alayhi salam. Yeah, so it's a companion of Dawood. Yes, but not the companion of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Is that clear? Yeah. So now, how do we clean the heart? This was so important. Now we know that when the heart is clean, it what? It impacts, it affects the entire body, it affects our actions and also our speech. And then the way we think. So how do we purify the heart? How do we purify the heart? Remembrance of Allah.
Dhikr.
Okay. So scholars have mentioned things that when we do, it will what? It will purify and soften the heart. So among what they mentioned is that constant recitation of the Quran. We should recite the Quran a lot.
Constantly.
Huh?
Constantly.
Yes. I mean constantly, it means that it means you should, like, it should be a habit.
Yeah.
Right? Not to recite the Quran 24 hours or 20 hours. No, this not. At least you should have a portion you recite every day. It should be like a habit. So with this, it's what? It has a lot of impact on what? On one's life. It's what? It cleans the heart from all heart diseases. It also what? It also protects the tongue from saying things that is not what? That is not right. Only the recitation of the Quran. It cleans the heart. So constant recitation of the Quran. And then observation of what? Of voluntary salawat. Right? It also things that what? That draw a servant close to Allah. And when a servant is drawn close to Allah, when a servant gets close to Allah, what happens? Allah becomes his what? His hearing, his sight, and then كنت سمعه الذي يسمع به وبصره الذي يبصر به ويده الذي يبطش به ورجله الذي يمشي بها ولئن سألني لأعطينه. So here he becomes what Allah protects, meaning Allah becomes his hearing, his sight, and all that. It doesn't mean Allah really becomes that. No, it means Allah protects his what? His hearing and his sight. You don't what? You don't hear things that are prohibited. You don't also see things that are not right. You don't look at things that are what? Haram. So Allah protects his what? His organs. That's what it means. So observing what? Voluntary prayer. So a person who observes voluntary prayer, it means that the person will take what? The obligatory prayer serious. You get it? So, and then also being with what? With pious people. It's also one of the ways that we can clean our heart. Because when you are among righteous people, what happens? You become so conscious, right? Because these righteous people, they don't do things, they don't act on what? Haram things, right? They don't also say bad things. So when you are with them, you observe the manners of that circle. You don't do things that will make you look odd. You get it? So being with righteous people is one of the way that we can use to clean our heart. So it also means we should stay away from bad company, right? If you want to clean You want to get your heart clean. You don't sit among people who backbite, who insult, who disrespect, arrogant people. No. You get it? So, and then also making a lot of zikr, like the istighfar and other form of zikr that we know. You understand? These are the ways to what? To soften the heart and clean the heart. Right? These are the ways to what? To soften the heart and then clean the heart. And also, when the heart is clean, it affects the way you think, it affects the way you speak, it affects the way you act. Right? So we should watch, we should focus on that, and then we should stay away from doubtful issues. Right? And then we all know how to identify the doubtful issue. Whenever you find yourself acting on something and then you feel uncomfortable, you have a lot of doubt in the heart, get to know that this is what?
Doubtful.
It's a doubtful issue. But after knowing that this does not fall under haram, because if you don't know whether it is haram or halal, then this is ignorance. You should go and learn and know the ruling. So when you are sure that this does not fall under haram, and you are acting upon it and you still feel this discomfort in your heart, then you have to stay away. I hope it's clear. Any question?